Spending my vacation in the summer sun, getting lots of action, having lots of fun.
Have you ever wondered what happened to the stars of Grease 2? Well, don't miss today's episode, Grease 2, The Stars, Then and Now.
Back to school.
Wow.
I gotta go back to school again.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under, it's the 80s Show with Australia's Retro Man. On tonight's show, Retro Man takes a look at the stars of Grease 2, Then and Now. Well, what are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man.
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now, one thing that people are always talking about is what has happened to some of our favourite 80s stars. More importantly, what do they look like today and what are they up to? What are they doing? Are they starring in film, TV? Are they appearing on stage? Well, today I will be taking a look at the careers of 5 stars from the movie Grease 2. Yes, that critically maligned sequel from 1982. Wow, I can't believe it. It's been 40 years since that film came out, and I must say that the film is much better than the reputation that it has received over the years. Now, think of this episode as a bit of a then and now. We're going to take a look at what the star looked like back then in Grease 2, and then we're going to move forward a few years to see what they look like today. Now, the first actor that we'll be talking about is the star of the film, Mr. Maxwell Caulfield. So in Grease 2, Maxwell Caulfield played Michael Carrington. He was the lead, and later on he became the elusive Cool Rider and a T-Bird right at the end of the film. This is how Max looked in the film as Carrington. He was sort of dutied up at the start in a very nice little sweater, and then later on he became the Cool Rider. You remember that. And this is how Michael looks today. And his hairline's changed, let's just say that. Bit different. So Max had a very interesting career. It didn't quite have the trajectory that you would think after starring in a film such as Grease 2, but he did get himself in a few interesting roles in the 80s. He starred opposite Charlie Sheen in this gritty little film called The Boys Next Door, and they were more than the boys next door. These guys were kind of frightening, and that is a film that could shock some viewers. So that was a bit of a change from his squeaky clean role in Grease 2. And shortly after that, he appeared in a TV series called The Colbys. And Max also appeared in that classic computer film with Virginia Madsen called Electric Dreams. In the 90s, Max scored the bit of a role of a lifetime considering how his career began in Grease 2. He managed to spoof his image in the film Empire Records. That film wasn't so hot at the box office at the time in the mid-90s, but it did become a cult favourite. So Max actually hits the bullseye in Empire Records. And since then, I mean, he's a working actor. He's done a lot of film and TV, mainly a lot of TV movies. Now, for many, many years, Maxwell Caulfield has been married to Hayley Mills' sister, Juliet Mills, and they're still together today after all these years. She's a little bit older than Max, and they've also appeared in TV shows together. Let's fast forward now to the 2020s, and Maxwell Caulfield has just recently appeared in that TV miniseries Pam and Tommy. You can watch that on the streaming service Disney+. So, hey, let's talk about the female of Grease 2, the girl that played Stephanie. We're talking about Michelle Pfeiffer.
The pig-faced pledge to act cool, to look cool, and to be cool.
Now, this is how Michelle looked as Stephanie in the film, and this is how Michelle looks today. Now, she's certainly had the career. Just after Grease 2, she appeared opposite Al Pacino in that classic gangster flick Scarface, and then she appeared with Jeff Goldblum in a bit of a thriller called Into the Night in the mid-80s, and then all of a sudden Michelle Pfeiffer became a little bit of a critical darling when she got involved in these couple of films at the end of the 80s, Dangerous Liaisons, for which she was Oscar nominated, and another film you may have heard of called The Fabulous Baker Boys, where she starred opposite two brothers, Jeff and Beau Bridges. She even did some singing in that film, and she wowed the critics. Again, she was nominated for her second Oscar for that film, and that rounded out the 80s. And in the 90s, of course, Michelle was still pretty hot property. She scored big in the Batman sequel, Batman Returns, where she played Catwoman. That was an unforgettable role for Michelle. She absolutely nailed the purr, and in that outfit, wow, people couldn't stop talking about it. And later on, she scored another hit with that gritty teen flick called Dangerous Minds in the mid-90s. And she's never gone away, really, Michelle Pfeiffer. She's done a lot of credible film roles over the year. In fact, just recently, she's played Betty Ford in the TV series The First Lady, and she's also appearing in those Ant-Man films, and the third one's just about to hit soon. So Michelle just never goes away. Her career is just getting better and better, and she's still in the public eye. Now let's look at another performer from Grease 2. This guy, hey, it's Adrian Zmed. He played Johnny Nogarelli.
Take a look over here.
Well, he's been around for years, guys. This is what he looked like in Grease 2. He was one of the T-Birds in the film. He had a very interesting presence. He's a bit of a song and dance guy. He actually played Danny Zuko on stage for a number of years before scoring the role of Johnny in Grease 2. In fact, he's even played Johnny on stage in Grease 2. So, and the stage play of that as well. So he's definitely a song and dance man, and this is what he looks like today. But at the time, he was in TV and film, and he appeared opposite William Shatner in that TV series T.J. Hooker. He was also in Bachelor Party, that crazy, wild film with Tom Hanks and Michael Dudikoff. And Adrian Zmed also was the host of Dance Fever in the 80s. For those that were watching American TV in the 80s, you couldn't miss Adrian Zmed on that TV series Dance Fever. Wow, wasn't that a load of fun? And Adrian Zmed has kept busy over the years. Let's fast forward now to the millennium, and he appeared in a reality TV series called Confessions of a Teen Idol, and he's still out and about today, occasionally appearing in things, but definitely he was hot property in the 80s. His career didn't take off like you think it might. He never became, say, a Tom Cruise or anything like that, but he's still a steadily working actor, and he's definitely one that you remember. That was Adrian Zmed. Now let's take a look at one of the Pink ladies from the film, Lorna Luft.
Hey, Johnny, Johnny, go for that track, and I just might be faking in that.
Now this is what Lorna Luft looked like when she played Paulette in Grease 2, and this is what Lorna looks like today. Now Lorna Luft is Judy Garland's daughter and Liza Minnelli's half-sister. And shortly after Grease 2, she appeared in that Alan Carr production called Where the Boys Are, 84. And that film, like Grease 2, kind of tanked at the box office. And she did a bit of TV work after that. But just like her mum and half-sister, she's a bit of a song and dance girl. And she's done a lot of very impressive stage performances over the years. So you more than likely will spot Lorna Luft on stage instead of screen. So that's what she's been up to. Now let's take a look at another one of these Grease 2 actors. We have Christopher McDonald. Whatever happened to Christopher McDonald?
We're gonna show you how to do it right. We're gonna start tonight.
Well, he's been around for years, guys. This is what he looked like in Grease 2. He played Goose, and this is what he looks like today. Yes, he's aged quite well, hasn't he? And after Grease 2, he, just like Lorna Luft, wound up in that movie Where the Boys Are 84. Actually, I've got a video on Where the Boys Are 84 on this channel. A bit of a retrospective episode where I talk about the VHS and DVD release of that film. So check that out if you want more on Where the Boys Are 84. Now, also around that time, Chris McDonald got involved in that hip-hop classic called Breakin'. He was in the first film of the Breakin' films. And also, he's never gone away, really. He's done so many movies. In the 90s, he was in that spoof with Amanda Sante called Fatal Instinct. He also did those made-for-TV films, those spin-off films of that Robert De Niro film, Midnight Run. He was in the spin-off TV series that were like 2-hour TV movies, Midnight Run Around. He did a few of those. Also in the 90s, Chris McDonald starred in Leave It to Beaver as the Beaver's dad, and he was also in that classic Adam Sandler film on the golf course, Happy Gilmore. And in the 2000s, he was doing more spoof work. So he actually loves appearing in comedies. He was in the Superhero movie, which was a spoof on superhero films. And just recently, in the 2020s, Chris has been appearing in a lot of TV work. In fact, he's in Hacks, the TV series Hacks. So you might spot Christopher in that if you watch closely.
Back to school again.
Well, that concludes our Grease 2 flashback. Actually, it was a then and now, wasn't it, on the stars, 5 of them from that film. I think Grease 2 deserves a little bit more respect. I mean, look at the cast. You've got Caulfield, Pfeiffer, Zmed, Luft, and McDonald. They're very interesting actors, they're great performers, and I'm sure a lot of you were wondering where they are today. Also, Grease 2 just got a recent Blu-ray release in the United States, and it came out in Australia a few years ago. That's that one just there. We've got Grease, Grease 2, and Grease Live with Julianne Hough in that Blu-ray pack. That was a very interesting release a couple of years ago, and for those of you that still think that Grease 2 is a bit of a stinker, I can tell you if you watch it today, it has aged very well. I think the film is a little bit edgier than that original one with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. And I think if you take the opportunity to check it out today, you could be very surprised with the outcome. In fact, it may rock your world. So that's Grease 2. Do yourself a favour and maybe get the American Blu-ray if you see it around. And hey guys, that concludes our first Then and Now episode, but I will be back for a few more of these. It was a lot of fun to reflect on the cast of Grease 2. But before I go, how about you pop your thoughts and feelings about the stars in the comments below? Who is your favourite actor from Grease 2? Tell me about it. I want to hear about it. Pop that in the comments below. And while you're at it, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It means so much. And that's it. That just about does it. Hey, Grease 2. Wow, what a flashback. Has it really been 40 years? Where did that time go? Anyway, guys, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and just as energetic as a bowling alley sing-along. Now that's sweat-inducing. Please subscribe and good night, viewers.